It's been a long time. Hey y'all, Bio here. I'm back for the most part, and I want to make a quick video regarding to something I love that, for once, is not an animated movie. Let's talk about horror. In the last few years, horror movies kind of acted as a cheap and easy way to sucker bunches of teenagers into the theater to watch films that were far more or less jump scares and very little substance. But over the last year, things seem to have picked up a bit, changed even. A Quiet Place, Hereditary, the remake to Suspiria, the reboot to Halloween. These movies have shown that horror is slowly making its comeback, and I wanted to look into some of the upcoming horror releases for 2019. Now, I won't focus extensively on every single horror film that's coming out this year, I just wanted to focus on a few of them that I am personally looking forward to. Scary stories to tell in the dark. Okay. I've been waiting to see an adaptation of this for a very, very long time. For those of you who were born in this millennia and have no idea what I'm referencing, I am so sorry. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was a 3-part children's series written by Alvin Schwartz. They housed a collection of scary stories, urban legends, and poems, but what made these books truly terrifying to read is the detailed and nightmare-inducing illustrations done by Stephen Gamble. A lot of these illustrations are just downright horrifying to look at. I mean, just look at this one. Look at that one. Oh my god, that's terrifying. So terrifying and graphic that these depictions were, that the series was challenged to have the illustrations either altered or removed completely because it was scaring young kids. I remember a story in particular called The Window. Now, the picture itself doesn't show a whole lot of detail, there's not really anything graphic here, until you notice the very subtle, dark and shadowy figure hidden in the bottom of the page. Now, being a young and impressionable little boy who just happened to have his bed by the window, I was too afraid to look out the window at night in fear of seeing worth the therapy. Anyway, for years I have wondered what a film adaptation of this would look like. How could they do it? How could they pull it off? And finally, we're going to get that answer. Though we don't have a significant amount of details regarding the film, though as the plot states, and quotes, revolves around a group of young people attempting to solve a mystery that involves a series of spectacularly horrifying deaths in their small hometown. Yeah, that sounds pretty typical, and I can only guess that these deaths are somehow connected to the multiple stories within the books. Kind of sounding like a bit more like the Goosebumps adaptation a few years back, except, scary. Despite the movie being co-written by Guillermo del Toro and the footage of it so far looking pretty dang impressive, I'm going to keep my expectations low. See, a lot of care and dedication has to go into adapting horror and Gotham-related media. If done correctly, it can succeed in not only being one of the best adaptations of said media, but regarded as a substantial leap of what is expected out of movies like this. If done poorly, it can be regarded as one of the worst movies of the last year. Seriously? Seriously. We handed you all the material and you just... And speaking of Stephen King-related adaptations, Pet Sematary. A year or so after the heels of the successful remake to It, we're getting another remake of a Stephen King adaptation, Pet Sematary. This is the second adaptation since the 1989 film. Although a decent movie, let's face facts, people, it's a bit silly and not a whole lot scary. Hell, a lot of the previous movies and TV series based off Stephen King's books have been pretty silly, which is why I welcome these new adaptations to actually encapsulate the horror that comes from his novels. Pet Sematary, if you don't know, is the story of a family who moves to a rural land only to discover a literal pet cemetery in their backyard. This particular cemetery possesses an unnatural power, which is shown when the family cat dies only to suddenly come back to life after being buried there. When the family endures a tragic loss, the father decides to try and utilize the cemetery's powers by bringing a undisclosed loved one to life. However, things that come back from the grave aren't always what they appear to be. I already love the dark tone that the trailer gave off, the ominous feeling of dread, the kids wearing the animal masks, the subtle hints on the events that will happen. A second trailer just premiered and it looks like they might be taking a little bit of liberties on the plot, or this could be a total fake out and will leave us all shocked by the end of this. Definitely looking forward to this one in April. Brightburg. James Gunn, known as the director of both Guardians of the Galaxy films, is producing a new type of horror film called Brightburg, centered around a loving couple who receive a gift from above, literally, as a comet crashes into the yard only to discover a baby on the inside. From there, the child grows and begins to exhibit superhuman abilities. So what, Superman origin story, who cares? Not exactly. This is not the origin story of a superhero, but a supervillain. And from what the trailer has shown us, it looks like it's not going to hold back from being graphic and incredibly dark. I mean, just look at this kid. Good God. I actually cannot wait to see how this whole thing turns out. I definitely think it's going to put a bit of a spin on the superhero genre that we've been getting the last few years. Well, that's the majority of what I'm looking forward to. I know that there were a few ones I didn't mention, like Child's Play is definitely getting a remake, and Jacob's Ladder, what the? Thanks for watching. If you guys have any opinions regarding to the movies I've mentioned today, please list them below. I'm not sure what I'll do next. Maybe Lego Movie 2. Maybe How to Train Your Dragon 3. Who knows? Anywho, my name is Bio, and I'll see you all next. Como always.